Good morning folks, Ken Ring of www.predictweather.com. It's the 30th of March, it's the day of the full moon. The moon is now in Libra and today is the full moon for all the world. That means tonight is the most likely to be clear wherever you are. How does that work? Well, at any time the moon's gravitational force pulls up the water at the coast to make the tide. Everybody accepts that. But the moon's forces go through the air to get to the water, so the forces are pulling the air as well. And the air is about 800 times lighter than the water, so the air can move more quickly. Before the moon rises, the height of the air is low. So if the air height is low, then the heat of the sun in the daytime can get closer to the ground without the air in the way. So in the summertime, the full moon time is the hottest part of the month. Well, so can the cold night air if the moon is out of the sky at night, and the moon is out of the sky at night in the new moon time. Now, when the moon rises, the volume of the air beneath it increases, and it keeps away the day's heat and the night's cold. So the moon in the sky is at a different time for each moon phase. For instance, it's out of the sky in the morning of the first quarter, and it's out of the sky in the afternoon of the last quarter. It's out of the sky during the day of the full moon, and the moon is out of the sky at night over the new moon. Well, the full moon rises at sunset. So the daytime of full moon is when the rain, if the rain is about, will come. When the air is lower and the colder air can come right down and descend closer to the ground, assuming that there is that colder air around. In other words, that it's not the height of the summertime. But in the night time, because the full moon is a night moon and the full moon rises at sunset, well, the air becomes higher and it keeps out the night cold, and this stops the clouds forming, which means that the sky clears. And the old saying used to be that the full moon eats the clouds, and that was an old sailor's saying. Now, there's also a small amount of heating from a full moon. In the summertime, the full moon causes the cyclones because the sun's heat is stronger in the daytime, and this means more evaporation and therefore more rain. And that's what happens in the summer. So the cyclone season is over the summer, and these cyclones get going around the full moons, just like there's one that's going at the top of Australia at the moment. In the wintertime, the full moon brings snow to those places that actually get the snow. And in the spring and autumn, the full moon is pretty renowned for bringing winds because it's associated with the moon crossing the equator. In Australia, there's this big cyclone Paul, forming at the top at the moment, and it's crossing over as we speak into Queensland. Now, there's unlikely to be strong movement because the moon is actually slowing down now. It's coming up to the southernmost point, which it'll be on the 4th. So it's well in the southern hemisphere, climbing in the sky down here, but it's slowing down. Because it is past the perigee, which was a couple of days ago, and it was past the day that it crossed the equator. And those are the two times that it actually speeds up, because both of those are like the midpoint of a pendulum. Well, I think that this cyclone Paul, will reduce to rain this week on most of the northern half of Queensland, and I think by Easter Saturday, southeast Queensland and northeast New South Wales will probably have wet weather, but because Sunday is the southern declination of the moon, when it's the furthest point south and it's the highest point in the sky, and it virtually slows down because the moon's orbit is running parallel with the Earth's orbit, and so I think the drift southwards of the warm rain-filled systems from the north will stall. And so I think that it'll just be rain in Australia, and all this cyclone will have lost strength by then. So as I see it, easterly winds for Queensland and New South Wales should prevail until the 4th of April and then turn southeasterly. I'll have a more in-depth look at Easter in another blog. Have a look at it on the website. I'm going to do that immediately after I finish here. So thanks for watching. Ken Ring of www.predictweather.com, and I'll see you tomorrow.